Should I have baby with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian? You know, Kim was Paris Hilton's assistant.
What's going on with this? That is if I ever go to India. Really?
Should I have baby with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian?
There was a story that came out, a video that was shown saying back in the days when Kim K was Paris Hilton's assistant.
Yeah.
Was it true? Was Kim K Paris's assistant?
Yeah, she used to sleep in my guest room. Yep. And then some weird shit happened. I'm not gonna say what happened, but and then she made it to the master bedroom.
Kanye West just said something shocking about his ex-wife and her best friend. He thinks that Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton might have been hanging out with Diddy in a special way, and what's even crazier is that there might be a video that was found when police searched Diddy's house. Now, this idea about Kim and Paris being close with Diddy isn't new if you've been following the news. But things got way more interesting after Scott Storch talked about it recently. Now, Scott makes music and writes songs, so he was there at all the big parties and behind-the-scenes stuff. And he didn't just talk casually about it. He explained exactly what was happening inside those special celebrity groups in the early 2000s. And it matched what Kanye was saying perfectly. Back then, Scott was living on Indian Creek Island, which is one of the fanciest places you can live. Around that same time, Paris Hilton came into his life. She first connected with him to make music, but they became more than friends. They ended up dating and became boyfriend and girlfriend. But the biggest thing was that she showed him a whole different side of being famous that he had never seen before.
And then I sold it like a couple years later to move closer to disaster. I was safe in Bal Harbor, and then I moved to Palm Island, and that's where all. So yeah, Paris came to work with me. We ended up dating and had a relationship.
And Scott says that she taught him about photographers following celebrities, the crazy nightlife, and that flashy celebrity lifestyle. Everything from being in magazines like US Weekly to showing up on TMZ. He already had money, fancy cars, and a fancy life, but she brought him into the public spotlight. Before all that, he was just working in his music studio. He even said he used to feel too nervous to act like he belonged in those celebrity scenes.
She introduced me to paparazzi, nightlife, being the man, Us Weekly, fucking, TMZ, this whole party life and wild I never experienced before because I was in the studio night and day. I was rich. I had every car you can imagine, but they only went from the house to the studio and back. Friends would come over and they would go to the club and then they would come back after, but I would ask them how it was. I think I was nervous to even be cool at that point.
But once Paris came into his life, everything changed. That was when everything started to be different. He said he got caught up in it all and even admitted it was a time when he acted differently than his normal self. The excitement of Hollywood pulled him in, and from there he found himself around people he now says look down on others. He didn't say their names because he said it would be demean. But the message was clear that those people changed who he really was inside. They turned him from a kind, down-to-earth guy into someone who just wanted attention.
And I got so caught up in that, and it changed who I was. I was hanging out with people that are just not good. People that think they're better than others. I don't want to call out names, whatever, but just Hollywood douchebag. And you are what you hang out with. And it changed me from being this innocent, soulful, organic person to quest for fame and this quest for I wasn't even really that sprung on Paris.
But then Kim Kardashian came along. At that time, she was just known as Paris Hilton's person who organized her closet. But Scott said something that surprised everyone. He said she used to sleep in his guest room.
Story that came out, a video that was shown saying back in the days when Kim K was Paris Hilton's assistant.
Yeah.
Was it true? Was Kim K Paris's assistant?
Yeah, she used to sleep in my guest room.
That alone was surprising, but what really caught attention was how he said something changed. He didn't explain the details, but whatever happened, it made her stop sleeping in the guest room. She moved into the main bedroom. That quiet change said more than he needed to explain.
And then some weird happened. I'm not gonna say what happened, and then she made it to the master bedroom.
Paris eventually found out what happened, but by then Scott and Paris were already broken up, and Kim stepped right into the picture. He called it helping each other feel better. Both of them were feeling sad. dealing with their own problems, and somehow they got together.
Yeah.
Paris
That was
found
like-
out, or
No, it was just like she and I were done, and like we were both like at it, and we were like commiserating. What did he say? Karen, that she's commiserating at the house from Goodfellas.
Even though he gave her credit for being real and hardworking, he said she was natural, hungry to make something of herself, and determined to build a career. That's when he said she followed Paris's plan, especially when it came to the party. Scene, there was a game plan, and Kim played it really well.
She was a super cool girl.
yeah, Kim was awesome.
Yeah, like
What was awesome about her?
she was organic, and she was just like, you know, eager to like. She wanted to like build her career up. She kind of followed Paris's blueprint with the fun after whatever. But at that time, she was just a cool kid and like.
Then Scott talked about the Bugatti car. He remembered driving up to a mansion on Washington Avenue in that car with Kim sitting in the passenger seat. But here's where things got crazy. Scott pointed out that in the video, everyone was looking at him. Nobody noticed that Kim was sitting right next to him. As he said it, that was Kim K. And nobody realized it at the time.
I got a video, dog. Got a picture.
That's $1 billion we got. Oh. Yeah, good. That's Scott Storage.
Yeah, that's Scott Storage, yo.
Oh, snap. Who the hell is Scott Storage?
Yo, he's the dude that make all the beats and yo.
Oh, look at this guy.
Scott Storage, dog.
Man, look at this girl, homie. Get in the car.
Scott Storage.
Following behind him was his other car, a Mercedes Maybach 62, driven by someone Scott called his friend, and according to him, that same friend used to carry all his drugs.
That's my car too behind him. That was my driver that used to carry all my.
Mercedes Maybach.
That was yeah, 62.
That detail wasn't told like he was showing off. It was more like an honest look into that world. A peek at how fast that lifestyle moved and how messy the lines got between fame, partying, and just trying to survive. That brings us to what Kanye said. Before Kanye married Kim, he knew what he was getting into. He knew there were videos. Not just the Ray J one, but multiple ones, and even today. He is still trying to make sure they don't get released.
Kanye flew home last night, and he came back this morning. I want to show you guys what he got me. All of
Oh, Kim. Oh my God. That's amazing.
But he is done now, not too long ago. He was on Twitch letting viewers listen while he complained again, and this time, he went directly after Kim. He reportedly said he would have rather had a baby with Paris Hilton than with Kim Kardashian. That sentence alone shocked people online.
Should I have babies with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian? You know, Kim was Paris Hilton's sister.
what's going on with it. That is if I ever go to India. Really?
Should I have things with Paris Hilton over Kim Kardashian?
He didn't stop there. He went on to suggest that if he'd had kids with Paris, he'd be sitting on money tied to the Hilton brand, according to him. That could have meant money for his family forever. Hotels, buildings, the whole thing. But underneath the sarcasm, there was tension, as if he was still struggling with the choices that brought him here. At one point, he reportedly mentioned that he wasn't even staying in a Hilton hotel anymore, as if to show the difference between what he expected and his real life now.
Because can you imagine if I had kids with Paris Hilton, how many hotels I have now? You gotta think about that. Think about that. The Hilton. You know, the Hilton. Because I think I'm staying in the Hilton right now.
But here's the thing, the Hilton family hasn't owned their hotel business since 2007. That's 5 years before Kanye even got with Kim and 6 years before they had their first kid. So really, it wasn't even about owning the business. It was about symbols, about Kanye looking back, realizing he played into a system he never fully controlled. And now he's stuck dealing with the regret in front of everyone. Also, in his disturbing interview with academics, he admitted he didn't want to start a family with Kim after just 2 months of being with her, but claimed it wasn't his choice to make, saying it wasn't in God's plan.
I didn't want to have children with this person after the first 2 months of being with her. But that wasn't God's plan.
Around that same time, reports started going around that Kim was thinking about taking legal steps to limit his time with. They're for children, not necessarily because she was mean. But possibly because of how unpredictable he had become, Kanye wasn't unaware of that. He responded by saying Kim's only real power was the ability to take his kids away.
Kim's only power is to take my kids. I have it. It's consistent, bro.
It sucks, you know, when someone doesn't see how different they are. You'll always, hope that you'll see a glimpse of them. And,
when placed alongside what Scott mentioned, things started to make more sense. He described how Kim had moved fast, switched friend groups, and quickly positioned herself among serious, powerful people. Scott backed this up with another story. He mentioned a past studio session where Kanye visited him. Dr. Dre was there, and Kanye had shown up while they were working, asked for a photo, and left shortly after. But then, strangely enough, he returned in a completely different outfit. Just to retake that same photo, Dre and Scott looked at each other, both confused, silently asking what that was supposed to mean. Later on, Kanye allegedly stormed out and called Dre the devil. Scott explained that Dre was left puzzled by the whole situation. Maybe Kanye felt the music being made didn't match his spiritual beliefs. Maybe it was something more personal.
I'll never forget Kanye, not to just be on dissing Kanye, but I remember he came in to visit me and Dr. Dre, and we're in the studio in the middle of making beats, and we were kind of interrupted, but we were all right, cool, whatever. And he's like, I need to take a picture with you guys. So we took a picture with him. It was cool. He left the building, went to, drove somewhere, came back and said, my outfit wasn't right. Let me take another picture. And it's like me and Dre looked together He stormed out of the studio one time later, I was told, I wasn't there, with Dre, and he called him the devil. He's like, you're the devil, and he ran out
Kanye called Dre the devil?
Yeah.
What prompted that?
Oh, making devil music for me and something. I guess he was on his holy kick at that point.
It was like Kanye trying to hold it together while everything around him seemed like it was never real to begin with. One user said bombs dropped. The fact that he's not sharing every detail could actually mean he's telling the truth, while another said he met the witches of Hollywood and his life was never the same. A whole lot of guys have been ruined until today. Sound off in the comments because this conversation is far from over. And if you're into explosive reveals and no filter moments, you know what to do. Tap in and keep watching for what's coming next.